The following podcast contains explicit language.
Thank you for joining us. This is Paul Wilson.
And I'm Danny Voss.
And we're here for another episode of the Diesel Performance Podcast, joined today by Mark Downing of Virginia.
Ow, ow.
Mark, how's it going?
What's going on, guys?
Doing great, doing great. This is our third or fourth guest now from Virginia. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Virginia keeps it real over here.
Absolutely. So, we talked to Dwight Kroon and we talked to Daniel McEwen, and they just insisted that we also speak with Sean Kaiser and now with Mark Downing. Absolutely. So we're excited to have you.
Right?
Now, we've had a couple of the Cummins guys on here. Mark, let's get started at the beginning. Tell us about what got you into diesel.
I've just always been about horsepower, honestly. Especially turbos in general. My first diesel was I got from my dad. It was actually a 95 GMC 6.5 diesel. I still have the truck. Dad left it to me, so I think I'm on my third engine. They don't seem to like 300 horsepower and 4,500 RPM, but
they don't like 200 horsepower at 3,500 RPM.
Yeah, but that was my first one. And then I had a 01 Duramax, first gen, which had all the first gen problems. I think I had hit gaskets, injection pump, and injectors by 80,000 miles.
Oh,
yeah,
pretty standard on those then, huh?
Yeah. So that got me to buy an 01 Cummins 24 valve. I sold the Duramax 16.5. I bought the Cummins for $4,000. Same year truck.
Why not?
That left me with, I think the first week I put a 64 millimeter turbo, 150 horsepower injectors, manifold, intercooler, and a TSP Power Max comp on it, all in the first week.
Damn, son.
And,
well, you could do that with that, bought it so cheap.
Yeah, right?
What's that?
I said you could do that because you bought it so cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. I still had money left over after that. And it run a 1230 on that setup.
Wow.
That's
and
cooking.
I was hooked. Just a nice setup. Drove great. I even beat the hell out of it for a year on the stock transmission. Never broke anything until I finally broke output shaft.
No
and
shit.
I went with a full Suncoast build. And then from there it ended up being a pulling truck.
Pardon the interruption. This is Nick with Calibrated Power Solutions. If you can appreciate the kind of advice that Paul and Danny are giving our listeners on this episode and would appreciate that kind of personalized advice, I would encourage you to check out calibratedpower.com and Duramaxtuner.com, where you can get a hold of our guys and get that kind of personal attention 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. 815-568-7920. Back to the podcast.
Oh, really? What class? I mean, are you pulling work stock in that?
That truck's gone now, but I pulled the classes out here are a little different than they are out there.
Okay.
It was an 80/50 class called Run With Your Bro.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much everything. The first year I had the truck, I had a 71 millimeter high tech turbo on it, a set of shied 6x18 injectors, and an industrial injection Dragon Fire pump on it. I ended up coming in, I think, second in the class for that year. So I was pretty stoked about that.
No shit.
Way to get your name out there.
DP. I think I ended up managing to get 1179 in the quarter out of that truck. It was a quad cab, long bed. That was with the 71 millimeter turbo on a stock injection pump.
That is nasty, sir. That's probably one of the best stock injection pump times I could think of for an 01.
Yeah, it was ranked. She was cool. When I changed over to the cow tracks on the truck, it was pulling 1.5, 1.6, 60 foots all day on 33-inch Wrangler MTRs.
Wow.
The thing just hooked.
That is nasty.
It was a monster. It was fun. 60, 70 mile an hour rolling burnouts, it always gets you a little chubby going.
I think it's that weight distribution. You know what I mean? When you're on that quad cab or that extended cab long bed, you're able to kind of break out and shift out that weight a little bit better. And I think that a lot of guys are reporting back that's getting them some good launches. Obviously, I'm a big fan of less weight goes faster, but I think there's something to be said when we're looking at off the line kind of power, off the line potential, getting something longer going.
I love that truck because I did everything with it. I mean, I drove it every day. Well, not every day. I got a bunch of trucks, but it was still my daily. I pulled with it, I drag race with it, and we even do sand drag racing down here, and which is racing on dirt. And I did that with it too. So it was all around a good fun truck. I could do anything I wanted with it.
Just out there beating on her, huh?
I was gonna say, I love when you can find a group of guys who just hate their truck. Like I never blew a head gasket until I sprayed 200 shot of nitrous on it.
200 shot.
And that got her.
That's a big shot of nitrous, sir. That does not surprise me.
It didn't even have it was all my solenoid could do. I didn't even have a pill in it. I just had one solenoid on it, so.
One solenoid, open and go.
It was
no
fun.
jet.
It got that turbo spool up real quick on the pulling track.
Yeah. Man, I love the way you think because I am like you over here in the Midwest. I am like, we would hang out, we're cut from the same cloth. Everybody rips on me for nitrous. They say bottles are for babies, and I say, wah.
That's because they've never used it.
Exactly. I have some support here.
I don't.
I've actually got not a diesel truck, but I've got a big block truck here too that I sand drag. It's got a 350 Zek shot on it, perimeter plate. And you talk about a hit when you hit that.
They're just jealous because they don't have the cojones to put the shot on their vehicle because if they wreck it, then they're done. Game over for them. But I feel like if I wreck my truck or my vehicle spraying nitrous on it, which I've done before, I've split pistons, whatever. I'll go into that if you want. I don't want to, but it is what it is. I feel like you can't beat that power, that instantaneous hit.
I'm sorry that some of us believe in actually building our trucks properly so that we don't have to rely on nitrous to cheat.
I drilled a hole in my intake and put a solenoid.
I know, that's it. That's all you do, and you're like, oh, you're jealous. I'm not jealous. I just think it should be built properly, and then you won't need nitrous.
My current pulling truck will be fuel only. Unfortunately, the class doesn't allow it, but it was fun.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your current truck that you're not cheating with.
Hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't eating, and I ain't hungry.
Ah.
That's right.
I love it.
My current truck, I've got a 06 regular cab, two-wheel drive, common rail truck. I bought it cheap off a guy, and I actually found it on Facebook. Just looking around and saw the truck and rode to Maryland with a buddy of mine and brought it home with me. Started out, Chris over there with y'all boys, they threw me some nasty tunes on it. And,
I think that was a shout out, real quick, Mark. I think that was a shout out for Chris Emke over at Calibrated Power, correct?
Chris Emke, that's my homie over there.
Chris is a good guy. Chris has been on the podcast a few times. He was just on that recent episode
with Dilly.
Yeah, with Chuck Dilly. Absolutely, Chris is a good guy.
We love having him. He's got the best laugh. I think it makes us all laugh when we hear that laugh.
He's a character. That's one boy right there.
So
we actually teased y'all all the time. I was out there at the Dino Day last year with y'all, and I had this truck now, and I think I had just the max effort tunes on it, still on the stock transmission, and he was giving me hell saying, the transmission wasn't going to last, and I told him that I'll make 700 horsepower on the transmission on the stock one, and anyway, wasn't too long ago I did 100% injectors on it. And I've got the, excuse me, I've got this, y'all still 64 on it. And I drove that truck to the track, ran it 7 or 8 times, and drove it home, hour and a half each way on the stock transmission. And I had to call
the fuck out of here.
Like I told you.
600 horse with a stock transmission, 610.
100 horsepower 100 horsepower or 100% injectors?
100%.
100% injectors. That 64 millimeter, that's a badass little charger. Chris had that on his 07 two-wheel drive Cummins. He made, I want to say 780 horse on that charger.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
With hundreds and a 12 mil pump. What pump were you running?
I've got PPE dual fuelers.
PPE dual. So you got all the pump in the world. You got all the fuel in the world. I mean, that's a 700,
absolutely.
800 horsepower Charger. On the
Yeah,
stock trans?
Me and Chris are actually doing the same setup. I sold him a set of cow tracks.
Oh, that's
for his truck.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he broke my heart when he sold it because we had the same, because we were going to go with the twins, and it was going to be like a competition between us. See who was the better driver on the same truck, but he got rid of it. He broke my heart.
You know, I know Chris listens to these podcasts when he's either driving into work or working out. Fuck you, Chris. How dare you sell that truck before Mark got a chance to race you in it?
I agree. I was so upset.
Fucking Chris.
He's laughing hysterically right now.
I went ahead and ordered the twin kit. Jason and the boys over at Worley built the kit for me, and I got the turbo from Calibrated. It's a billet S483 with a 110 housing.
Nasty.
So yeah, I've got that sitting over top with 64. Dallas over at Suncoast hooked me up with their stubby kit, which shortens the transmission up. I'm up 5 or 6 inches to get rid of that long output shaft on a shore drive.
Mm-hmm.
I threw the book at that, and right now I'm just sitting on a lift with no drive shaft in it. I'm waiting to get a drive shaft in.
You gonna go to a one-piece drive shaft in it?
No, because being a regular cab long bed, the drive shaft has got to be 84.5 inches long.
Oh, fuck that.
And so I've got to change over to a 2-piece.
Right.
There's something to be said about 1-piece versus 2-piece drive shafts, and I feel like guys with 2-piece drive shafts have that extra hurdle to get over.
I mean, it's eating up carrier bearings. It's it's a little bit of extra rotating mass, but the rigidity you get out of a 2-piece, as far as, well, I guess I should say longevity you get out of a 2-piece, I think is going to be there over a 1-piece, like he said, on a regular cab long bed 2-dig.
Right.
That's everything. You know what I mean? The front tires aren't going to get you down the track.
And it would have been fine if I hadn't gone with the stubby kit, but then it wouldn't have held up. The output shaft would have broke like a pencil.
Right.
But see, that shortened the whole transmission. The transmission is the same length as a regular, like 47, with no transfer case on it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you remember,
my drive shaft guide's going to have 1480 joints on the transmission. It's actually going to have 1550 joints on the rear and on the hanger. It's not going to break.
That's a bold statement.
Broke.
Go for broke.
That's right.
What's your best time in the truck?
I only ran it once after I put the 100% in it. I think I ran a 13.2 at 116.
Wow.
Yeah, that was on the set of the stock. What are they, 245 good years?
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't even get into full throttle until past the 8.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a rough time, but that's a top speed that's just crazy. I mean, usually if we're seeing 13.2s, we're under 100 miles an hour.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was speed-wise, good for in the 11s, sure.
Right.
I mean, it was fun. I was doing Pro Street burnouts in the box like I knew what I was doing.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Absolutely, man. I wanted to go to have fun. That's why I'm there. I'm here.
What events can people plan on seeing you at this year?
Are y'all doing a dyno day again this year?
Yeah, we're going to do a fall dyno day at Calibrated Power for sure.
Oh, it's going to be a fall one?
Yeah. Ultimate Call-Out Challenge is coming up in May.
There with us last year, and we were going to make it in May if y'all were having it again, but.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Call-Out Challenge is in May.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty much got everything tied up. We decided not to try to compete with that.
But I'm going to try to make it to every event I can.
Are you doing Rudy's?
I'm a farmer full-time, so it seems like every event is when I got to work. I got to plant, I got to harvest, I got to spray something.
Farmers, this guy. I know Mark works like 4 days a year. Don't let him lie to you about being busy farming. Quit playing, man.
Yeah, right. Everybody's trying to get me to go to Rudy's. They're trying to get me to go to Rudy's, and here I am. I'm going to be in the tractor planting corn.
No. I hear you.
Well, you got to make money before you spend it.
Yeah, I play hard when I have time to play, but when time to work, I got to do it.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah. And how can we follow you on social media?
Absolutely. How can people who are interested in your truck get a hold of you?
You can follow my Facebook page. I've got I run a business out in Virginia. It's BHFR Performance.
BHFR Performance?
Yep.
Excellent. What's your guys' phone number?
It's 804-366-1598.
It's awesome. If you got questions about your Cummins or Duramax, you want to talk to Mark Downing, you live down there in Virginia, feel free to give him a shout. He'd be happy to help. Mark, again, we really appreciate you coming on the episode today and talking about your builds and your experience in the diesel world.
I'm Danny Voss.
And I'm Paul Wilson. Thanks for listening.
Have a good one.
The Diesel Performance Podcast is brought to you by Calibrated Power Solutions, home of Duramaxtuner.com, developer of performance engine and transmission calibrations for a wide variety of late-model diesel powertrains, including the Duramax, Cummins, John Deere, Jeep, and many more. For more information and the best customer service in the industry, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920.
You know, I know Chris listens to these podcasts when he's either driving into work or working out. Fuck you, Chris. How dare you sell that truck before Mark got a chance to race you in it?
I agree. I was so upset.